Bring board order Monday, July 13th, 2026. All trustees present. Rangers. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any other things there? I don't go ahead. Just this is all pop up. And mine, I don't know if this falls this week or not. Then the last meeting we talked about discussing fair market price for town guard, fair market price for the 180 acres. Best way to separate the garage is gonna be a either MOU. And then I just wanted to check and see when is the CPA gonna happen and when do you guys want me and Darrel to get together about the CPA? And when you can throw yourself, that was well, right? Oh, yeah, I didn't know if anything was added, take a look at, I just think. Okay, anything else, changes? Now we're reviewing approved minutes for trustees meetings May 11th, 26, meetings June 17th, 26, meetings June 24th, 26. It's right. So I'd just like that real quick that I believe it was before the 11th meeting before that. I said that I was making a comment and address with BJ about the new employee, and I said Susan didn't do much for the village. It wasn't meant that she doesn't do much for the village. Susan was valuable employee for the
Percentage work. The percentage of work, not all of work.
correct.
Okay.
We have a motion approved. Do we have a second? Second. Any further discussion? Don, please make sure my comments are reflected. Yep. All in favor? Aye. Passage. Mary, you just here for the employee part? Sure. Anything, member of the public? Nothing?
Yeah, no.
We'll see treasurer report. Ashley, welcome to your first meeting with Mr. Treasurer in the village council.
Thank you. All right, so we have first the budget status, the electric department's at just shy of 47% of budgeted sales, water department's at 44, and wastewater is at 42. We also have all of the bank accounts listed out. For the audit updates, we received the 2023 completed audit, and then the 2024 audit is almost ready. They just have to do their 4-week review process, and we'll have that happen. And then for the 2025 audit, it's gonna go much quicker than the audits have gone so far because they're gonna open up an online portal that wasn't available to us before, so that we can submit documents electronically. And that'll help speed up the process. I spoke to our auditor this morning, so that was her update that she gave me.
25 on it, the one we were waiting for, go ahead, is free.
Yes, and she is aware of that. So for the electric department loan, I have been pursuing 2 options, one through Union Bank and one through Community. And both of them are kind of structuring the loans a little bit differently according to their own policies. So the Union Bank loan, they split into 2. One is solely for the capital improvements that were noted in the budget. That is for $88,000 over a 5-year period at 5.25% fixed interest, and that will be repaid in monthly payments. And then the second part of the loan is more like a line of credit. So we draw on it as we need it, but if we don't end up needing all of it to cover our operating expenses, then that's interest we don't really have to pay back. So
5.52.
5.25. Yes. I'm on this. So I like the option of having part of it be a non-revolving line of credit that we only draw on as needed. And then community bank would be offering the loan all in one for a 6 month or 60-month period. And those documents are in the queue, ready to come to us any minute. Their loan officer is currently out on bereavement, so I didn't want to be too pushy with it. For the Union Bank loan, I do have copies of the drafts. However, we just have to put who's gonna be our clerk in place so that they can have that signature on. And then the village tax rate is going to be set at 19 cents per $100 of the 2026 grand list, which is the same rate as 2025. Both our grand list has increased as well as our budget amount that we need to raise. So they increase together so that we could keep the actual rate the same. And I have a copy of that paper for signature, and I also have 2025's information if you guys want to look at that in more detail.
Do we need to change our motion to vote on tax increase? Until we approve it and vote on it. But we should do something to send it if we're not gonna do it. A wealth of knowledge on that one, you certainly want, well, there's no more, so I don't really know.
So what's the question, Kevin?
Well, we motioned and approved the rate increase on taxes, so she's done this because of the grand list increase, we didn't need to raise tax. So. Technically, yeah, so.
We moved for a tax increase, we moved for the budget, which was bigger. I think we just moved
I mean, the tax rate is based on the budget, so.
Right, we moved for a larger budget, probably that much, but
I thought we approved an increase of. For something. But I just want to make sure that we can revisit this once we confirm that, but.
So what if we do this, I'll make a motion that for the 2026 tax rate for the village. The rate be set at 0.192. That's that for 19 cents per 100. The year 2026, 27.
Made a motion for that,
Yeah.
do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? This should supersede anything we've done in the past.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, for that.
All pushing.
Thank you very much.
Everything's going good so far?
So far, so good.
Not feeling overwhelmed by anything?
No, so far I've been able to find what I need, and all of the people in the office have been very helpful with sharing information, so. Moving along.
Okay, okay.
water and light garage project update. The water and light garage is all finished, the lower door test had passed, and the few leaks have been addressed, but I'm sure in all those water types, they need condensation, so that they still need present addressed. Tomorrow night's storm will be a hardware test to see if we have any intrusion at all. After that, they only have solar installed, that that's required by the MERC cleanup. In addition to that, they also have a few things on the check for both should it be enough to Coming out and contingency, we're on track and under budget, so. That was good, I think we're on. The FEMA wastewater plant update, FEMA still has us in the EHR, the environmental health review process, and we just filed one of the project extension that required periodically by FEMA. The grid grant is still in progress. I requested a meeting with the single DPS employee assigned to this project statewide. And John Lips and Drover, things to ensure we have the packet as tight as possible. That meeting will happen tomorrow morning. This is by far the most paperwork heavy disjointed grant pathway I've ever encountered. And hopefully it'll get better once we get to the implementation phase.
Should be estimated.
That's getting this estimator of the additional tree cutting. The motion conducted a routine periodic inspection last Tuesday. I was out that day. Thank you, Will Jennison, for playing tour guide. The crew is at a safety training in Morrisville that day, the inspection focused on the fire department. While it seems there was no issue with the building, the inspector raised concern with some of the lacking safety program paperwork. He didn't seem surprised, as I'm sure that is common in volunteer fire departments. He offered to work with us on developing some of the missing items. So we'll continue the process by cooperating and coordinating with OSHA and see what comes of it. Tim Hall and Luke Dolan from the wastewater facility both took and passed their grade 5 wastewater operator exams. It's the highest grade in Vermont. Congrats to both of them. The Mach-E will likely be ready for pickup on Thursday. It took longer because Ford changed the design of the back door since the old 4 model year, the 24 model year, and they sent the wrong part. Water.
Are they bubble wrapping?
I don't believe they are.
Good wage?
No. That's not right. The water treatment facility generator project is complete. Another great win for the village. We got this $119,000 upgrade without using any local dollars, all grant funded.
How full did we get tanks?
I don't guess it's fully in or not, but we still have 5 grand left in the grant.
And that can be used for first.
Phase
to set it up, if I double check. And
Yes.
That is take care of, the be off our budget concerns for the new year. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm gonna be out July 24th until I return on Monday, August 2nd, then I'll the main trip. Wastewater and water chief operator's report. Wastewater plant, ERs, WR-43s were submitted to the state. All 52,000 gallons of sludge to Morrisville for processing today. Monthly composite testing is complete, but also completed scheduled quick channel meeting, we're having to do this twice as often as this spring we get infiltration in the system. We're working with those crew near the cause location. Continue summer yard plant care at all plants and buildings, with flooring everything except typically taking the continuing ed classes for ongoing water and wastewater credits. We adjusted both the SBR and the containers, raised them to a higher park position to allow for more air runtime and events of very high inflow.
We all have those sitting there on that too. And freaking.
There's been a little pause in getting that done just due to manpower right now. So made us out, helping with like the broken surgery or bad left. I'll tell you something else.
And the other summer yard care, that must include hydrant mowing. Put it on some good place.
Yeah, I found that I got the one from over to the plate.
Yeah, I can't see the one above my driveway. I can see the flags sticking up, but that how I know we're gonna have to.
Yeah, well, I thought it's more so like I gotta just do it.
Yes, yeah, I believe that's allowed, right, for the road.
Water plant. Monthly reports submitted to the state, call pump samples were negative. Like a large amount of water for 2-3 days at the top of the lake, we had found a leak, but GP's pumps said goods. They repaired it. The excavation, crew did the excavation work for force fuel for the solid gas line, the new tanks that provided fuel for the new generator and heat for the building, force fuel assisted. Gonna loop up approximately 270 gallons of remaining diesel out of the water plant generator, going for renewable. Will transfer with, with transfer pump and tank. The fuel will be dispersed between village equipment with the remaining pump in the drums for those use up.
And it was examined, make sure it was pulled out, right?
Okay, okay.
Just check, there was a problem with that stuff, been sitting there going, I said, algae. The algae that forms in the fuel. It'll take a filter out of that.
Yeah. Okay. Brookville started a new generator install on 6/22 with just a couple of hiccups. The install went good overall. John was finished on the 25th. The generator runs, exercises, it creates backup power as it should. Then we'll move to repair the lawn where the estimation was done, which will follow some regular seeding and mulching. Don't have a lot of lost numbers as of yet. So I one load of water, 5,000 gallons to Lake Farm via tanker. Having done.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mardos numbers for a couple of months, right?
It's been it's just scheduling between.
Okay, it's just a good reference for us,
Right.
month to month.
It isn't registered, no, the readings aren't good for this month, we should at least have the previous months.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
want the water readings?
Loss.
Oh, lost.
So it's what you have,
Yeah.
what they have, that's what you have.
Yeah, I sent it them this morning.
I will. I will get that email to work with the results.
Just keep us on a baseline for.
Yep.
Okay. These are all the more-
It's one of those things, the meeting happens early enough that it's really tight to get it in, and so. Had the issue with the pressure switch on the pump and key went, which could contact us, it turned out the switch was stuck. That switched the other pump, the pressure switch was installed. Luke assisted the village with hydrant flushing work with that for 2 days. BFO testing, but PFAS, well, we can finish that term, was done on the water supply. Results came back below safe threshold limits, often sent to the manager and this report. To share this report, anyone has questions, so all the analytes went not just below threshold limits, they were below the detection limits. In laboratory speak, you can't say zero, say below whatever the lowest detection limit. Well, let's congratulate both of the 10th to pass their grade 5 police smart exams. They both got hold the highest grade license to state law. Well deserved congratulations to both of them. Water and light report. Electric department. Hyde Park Mutual Aid, 6 hours double time. Library electric line extension complete. Tree on Wally on 285 Clay Hill, no outages. Installed cover up at 37 Clay Hill Road. Installed temporary service of 110 Pearl. Disconnect reconnect at 1026 Route 100C. Moved electric service job trailer at 665 Railroad Street. Straight pole and installed new service at 849 and 15 West. We moved electric meters at 35 Railroad Putvain. New service installed at 1299 Clay Hill. Outage 903 Old Hill Road, line, 19 customers out for a while. Call out for line down on Collins Hill Road, it's fire, nothing to do with the village. Completed apprentice hours from the state, and went for that deal.
The 35 grocery, that's the one in that.
No. Yeah, the red building next door.
Yeah, the next door, okay, yeah.
Remove the tree off the neutral on Block Road, big street light at 796 Block Road. Reviewing estimates for new apprentice. Identified PBE for shop. They monthly meter reads, high level checks, substation checks, fix it, water and sewer. They moved the water meter at 35 Railroad Street for Maya. Helping generator replacement and filter plant on Western Road. Located in raised manhole on Western Road. They moved trees off pump house number 2 on Katie and US Storm. Water leaking trail that building is bottle filler, turn it off. Water leak at 390 Railroad Street fixed by customer. Pump house number 3, KUN pressure valve is blowing off, due to the pump stuck on, switch pump, fix pumps, change out the pressure switch. Trying to find the infiltration in the soil, general.
We just curiosity, reviewing resumes for two apprentice. How many do we got?
About a dozen, 5. Well, we've got,
Oh, I like the bottom.
we got a dozen, maybe 15,
Nice.
yeah. General department, continue to move back to the new shop, hung up hero banners, help with the install, statue installs. Install pipe for antenna wire shop, safety intended method safety training weeks, July 7th, master and culture regulars. Native character leadership training through Buffalo's and roads.
So as far as girl banners, been approached by, I'm going to say, since 4th of July, 20 different people that have created this. Not been from Dawson, but from Jeffersonville, Morrisville, Eden, and Hyde Park. Right. So a lot of people that think they're that above and look, so hopefully we start.
Awesome. Fire department. Yeah. Fire department responded to 12 calls, 7 in the day, 5 at night, average duration was 64 minutes. The nature were 6 automatic alarms, 1 wilderness rescue, 1 water rescue, 2 vehicle crashes and 2 mutual aids, a structure fire and a vehicle crash. Average number of firefighters responding was 10 total hours of service, there were 102. It is.
Okay. Anybody any questions, Barry? Nick, so we're gonna. We need to appoint Rosemary to our, always said, that's for board wishes. Intern, and then, I don't know what we'll call them. Gonna be our clerk for the year, so.
But she, Squires village clerk, she,
So before she retired, me and her talked to her about it, she said she was willing to be clerk, she estimated 5 hours a week, but she said.
right, and I don't think it'll be.
All the time.
But yeah, it'll be, done in a few weeks, maybe more, it's a lot of tested as well.
Right. And then, we asked Ashley if she'd be okay with being assistant clerk, so if you would, for the time being. That way, if something small comes in or whatever, she can just confirm the Rosemary, and she can also handle it. So, bother it goes for anywhere we have to, but.
That's that happens.
She did make herself available for any question. So I would look for a motion to appoint Rosemary as village clerk for 2026 or until April of 27.
Well, you could just say until further notice.
Until further notice. So. We have a second.
We're ready.
We're ready.
Should run out the same rate or should be going.
She said she'd be happy working at her.
Look, I'm not remember the number, but yeah.
At the rate she was at when she left. Yeah.
She said it would be absolute most, and that would be a crazy week if it was 5 hours. Basically, have a motion, you second? Second. Any further discussion on Rosemary being appointed for the clerk? Feel free to note. Actually, but it's, oh, I have that second. All in favor? All right. Motion passes. For a motion to appoint Ashley Isabella as assistant clerk for the village of Johnson until further notice. So. We have a second, sorry. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Passes. So this should take care of your dilemma now.
Yes, I know.
There, you have to get tech to make sure that they're sending. And then, see what Rosemary wants to do for email, we gotta get Bill Johnson on grade, according to the code. Good board. How are you all? Good. You're up.
All right,
Go ahead, look, for Mike to pick you up.
okay. So what I've heard is you want to get rid of the protectors around the trees.
Not necessarily that we wanna get rid of them, it's just not the design that the board and form approved. And it caused a lot of trouble for the park.
Yeah,
But
I agree. I've seen that happen.
there's actually multiple problems. Yeah, parking is the biggest one that the public is having a problem with. The other problem is because they never put in curbs for it, that was trying to design. There's nothing keeping bricks from migrating. Previously, the grates kept the bricks from migrating. And then you took them out and we put in all the bricks in place.
Um. We didn't, not a lot came out. You know, we took I think a metal frame.
Stop.
Okay,
Right,
kept the bricks from coming in.
right.
Yeah,
And they were supposed to be, replaced with a small curb,
concrete curb.
and
Yeah.
that never happened.
Yeah, and I spoke to Sue about this. I'm just kind of picking up on all of this stuff. I guess there wasn't money for that. I don't know how that all worked.
Probably should cut that before they, got rid of our rates back home.
Right. So I think we're in a situation where these tree guards were designed. I helped put them in. And even when I was putting them in, I didn't see the problem that is there now, where people open their door, they hit them. I've seen people jockeying their cars. So, you know, it's an issue. Couple of us were talking, we're wondering if we can't run the chains down to the ground. Maybe attach them with a piece of bent rebar. So we get rid of that outer post, the one closest to the street.
That would help that part. It would keep my bricks in place.
Yeah, I don't know the solution for that.
There was concern, even, select board and from the public about the safety of them, leaning against, people leaning against them. And, feeling like they're gonna fall over, and so there's definitely a safety issue along with the bank, the car doors.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're at a place where it was well intended and, but at this point, if we can come up with a low cost solution to take care of it the best we can. I think the other issue in talking to Sue is there was grant money given for this by the community forestry foundation. And if they get removed, we might not get more, you know, it doesn't bode well for future projects, which I think we'd all agree that keeping the street trees makes town nice.
It was. No. It's dead set on removal completely, just
Okay,
fixing. You know, making it so that there's no problems with hitting car doors or bricks migrating or people falling over. This has.
That was what the concern that we were, they were wobbling,
yeah,
people leaning, some, I mean, I personally never leaned against one, so I don't know, but just that was concern.
yeah, I kind of think they're low enough where
Like I
people
said,
might not.
But, yeah, I'm just wanted to say, Kim and I looked at these things today. And most of those, not all of them, but most of them line up with the white line. Like park this side, park on that side, things in the middle, shouldn't hit it with your door, there's only like
Two or three.
two or three
that they
that you
yeah.
can clock a door.
Yeah,
The what, you know, what was just discussed about lowering the chains makes perfect sense, but
Right.
leaning against those posts, they're like knee
That's
high.
what one, I don't think against them, that
Yeah.
was what one person said, and I will just.
Yeah.
Maybe a kid.
yeah,
Really sure
I don't know if there's a real,
Yeah, really unstable. Literally go out, which we're gonna. Well, it's just, it's a Grace Valley type thing.
Obviously,
Yeah, that stuff is really.
Those are like, so the grades are definitely MIA. Previous grades, those are
Yes.
MIA, totally, no one knows who they are, or they've been sold.
They've been destroyed, removed.
they were, yeah, that's what I heard, that they were destroyed in the removal.
They were designed to snap a ring out.
Right.
Yeah. And we did,
To protect roots, now there's no root protection. No earth protection. And my biggest issue with the whole thing is, It's nothing like what we're presenting. Absolutely not even close to the resemblance of what we approved in our form.
Yeah,
So I don't understand how we went from black poles with chains to nice little iron fence. You have that picture with you there?
But put it up there. With previous,
Yes.
with the previous map.
We approved the one design that was there because it had curb. And there was no obstructions to the road, so
yeah,
everything was three-sided. That's not what the village got, that's not what the grant stated, and that's not what the town got for finding the board to get to the grant. So, that's my issue with it, and then, as you see now, it's sort of all the problem where it's coming in from different angles.
yeah,
That's why we approved the design that was brought with us.
Personally, I don't wanna be a total hard ass to say, this is what we approved, that's what's gonna happen. I understand budget issues, so I don't understand how that mistake was made, but stuff does happen. I wanna work with you guys, but we gotta get to a solution that solves our brick issues. And takes care of your needs. And which the out there now doesn't either one of those. As far as what we need for a section of tree, I guess it does do that sort of, but it's not what we approved.
right,
It's not what you presented. You know, I mean, flat out, we could say remove what you requested. You don't have any way to do that,
no, yeah.
so. Personally, I expect a solution from you guys. Soon. As to how this is gonna be. The issue that we're having is gonna be resolved.
You threw out an idea. Was that not unacceptable?
It doesn't solve the bricks.
It doesn't, but it's also, you said right now, so I would think that doing one thing would be better than nothing.
I agree, but and ultimately, I want to see a solution that was presented to us before. Or something in kind that your committee can find funding for. Or whatever to be able to present to us soon that takes care of BDA's little problem that we're having with the bricks moving. And the car doors and stuff like that, so that we might have a temporary solution for that, but I wanna see it resolved. And I'm not saying do what you presented to us because we can't afford it, but something is gonna be done.
So these guys did have what was proposed. It was installed. The rings were getting tight. My understanding is when those rings were pulled, they were destroyed. And pitched.
Right.
And that wasn't the tree board's fault.
No, I'm not
It didn't work.
I'm not talking about the original grades, I'm talking about what was presented to us for. What got approved for this round of. Was not what you presented. This,
But that,
Grades would also not work with the post system there.
well, the breaking of the grates drove the whole train. If the grates didn't get broken and removed, we wouldn't have the issue. Because there's a simple breakout for when the tree expands in size, you can break them open more.
Right.
That didn't happen. The grates were destroyed.
That's part of this problem, that's frost project, that's part of this
The
problem.
only reason.
I can't hear three people at once.
They were removed for the project. Only reason they were removed.
Are
We
we,
didn't ask for them to be. It was operation that was brought to us. That was the end result. It had to be removed so it could go post down or curb. So that's behind us now, and we're all saying, so the
Yeah.
brakes are gone, they do us no good unless you remove all the posts and put it back to the way it was. The only thing that's intact are the cages for the trees. So, it's worth
and
it.
we're sure the grates were destroyed? Is that,
We need to get them out of the hole. My understanding is they're in a mile behind the job, what makes that, right there.
Okay. I thought the frames were destroyed, because those grates came out in quarters, we used to lift them out. So, I'll drive over there and put eyeballs on what's,
So what do you
What's
think that's-
available?
It's gonna remove the posts and put the grates back.
well, if that's,
That's violation of the grant.
yeah, it would be. I'm just trying to figure out what's gonna work for everybody here. So the grates are out.
So,
So, joint meeting, select board was supposed to, your board.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't part of any of that. You want a solution, I'll get the tree board together and we'll brainstorm.
That's all, that's.
Yeah, I mean,
Personally, I want.
Yeah.
The trees are there, they're nice, stuff like that, we just need to find. The gray area where you can get it done and. meet our
Right.
needs.
yeah,
And I'm open with a lot of.
okay. And the other thing, like, as this came up and I viewed the trees, who's ever doing the snow removal is really doing a good job, because even the trees that aren't protected, I mean, things are in good shape. You know, the trees aren't getting scarred up. I mean, they didn't wipe out the posts. So, I mean, it's hats off to the snow removal crew, so.
But you understand our concern that now the bottom grades aren't there.
Right.
Sidewalks are interiors. Sidewalks, I've got grade for 20 years, for grades down here installed holes in the sidewalk for moving. So,
Could I please say something? I emailed you all a picture of the inside of the pit where the grates were held in, and it's inside the concrete. It should be on your email if anybody's got it.
I have not seen it, you know, either.
It's because I sent it at 6:15.
Oh, they're in there, that would be why.
That would be why I've had a very busy day, I'm sorry.
And I just wonder if some of the brick issue is just from time with these trees getting bigger and the root system getting bigger. And it's, you know, it's pushing up beyond
They weren't
the,
supposed to get sick.
yeah,
It's supposed to be 4 trees. They were supposed to go over 8 feet high, if I remember.
are you serious?
Dead serious.
Okay, yeah, well, we're not there.
That's was on the page, it's just me.
Okay. Yeah,
So the picture tape.
Hmm?
When was the picture tape?
here we are.
Just before we put the new ones.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's what was there before, but that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
That frame's
They
not there
weren't,
anymore.
they weren't supposed to
That frame's not
get
there.
into the wire building or the lights.
Yeah.
They were supposed to.
Yeah.
So I should tell us then.
Yeah.
I for completed.
okay.
We can't hear it say to people, so. So I think we're board looking for you, guys, come back to us next month. We have a solution. We can move to what that's.
40% December, that would be great, be fair.
Yeah.
Let's
We are passing it right
on this.
Okay,
Really appreciate the work that you've done. I really appreciate the work to find solutions we all have.
Diana Osborne, after the village town select board meeting. I thought that I came away hearing that this board of trustees wanted to cut the trees down. My sister corrected me, she said, no, they were talking about cutting the posts down, not the trees down. I just wanted, as a community member, your.
Comment made that too. And
I came away from that meeting incensed. I contacted the tree board and I said, I'm under the impression that our village trustees want to cut down the trees on Main Street. That's, I don't know if you meant it in joking or not, but I came away from that meeting.
to make it clear, Mike Dunham said, do we even need the tree? There was a joke made that we should cut.
Whatever, I just wanted to clarify that that was the case, and then I also wanted to request respectfully that you once and for all address the situation of who's responsible for what on the sidewalks, parking strips, curbs, etc.
That's the, always been the.
I know, and I don't know, you probably weren't around back when I had my shop on Main Street, but when the Main Street project happened, there was a problem at that point in time with the parking strip. The business owners were told that we had to have sod in front of our businesses after 2 years of mud from the Main Street construction project. We said, we don't want sod, we want brick. And the village said, no, you can't have brick, you have to have sod, and by the way, you have to mow it. And we said, that's not workable for us, we want brick. And then they did the sod anyway, and then lo and behold, some years later, after my shop had to close. Brick goes in. This has been a mess for 20 years. And it's been a lack of clarity of who's responsible for what. And whether the business owners have to maintain the parking strip or whether the village maintains the parking strip. And I mean, we have these beautiful granite curbs now filled with grass. I mean, the weed spot in front of the bike rack in front of Sterling Market just barely got weed whacked the other day. Or maybe today, I don't know, it was weedy up until recently.
That was their private garden before they got it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is there's been a lack of clarity ever since the Main Street project for 20 years. Over who maintains what, who weeds the curbs, who mows the parking strip. What do the property owners do versus what does the business do versus what does the village do?
So I deal with the state a lot on big projects going out through here. And if we were a contractor and we worked with the state out there, the state decides in their right of way that they're gonna put a granite curb. You're gonna get granite curb. If you're gonna get concrete curb, then that's what the state puts in. So I don't know about all the decisions made, but I know on a lot of projects when we go in. And it says we're gonna replace all the curb, we're gonna go all the streets, and we're gonna put stupid brick crossings in that don't last. That is a decision was made by the state. That's not a decision that even the village or even the town would even have say. Now, when you go to Stowe, they take control of the main street up through there, so they have say in what kind of signs go up and so forth. So there is a lot of. We're in control of these sidewalks out here. But if the state came in and wanted to take it out and put granite curbs through everywheres. That's what's going, it's in there right.
The right way up Main Street, you don't want my house in front, my front porch is the edge of the state right away. There's me, the porch, my trees, my lawn, that's all the state right away. So. So that's control. Ultimately, the state has the ultimate control of everything. So.
Well, maybe that's where the follow-up needs to be then, is you need to talk to the state about maintaining their right of way. Or do they expect you to maintain the right of way?
They want to come out to a car act.
Well, if it's the village responsibility to maintain the right of way. Then I think it needs some clarity, because it looks bad, it looks bad.
Going up through here, and I know for a fact because I. Had to deal with them a few times, there are some of the catch basins in the town that the state is in control of. That they, even though we have catch basins, they come through in the spring, they stick them. To see how much sediment's in, see how much they see everything, so there is the state has control of a lot of stuff. And you know. If they came through in the middle of the village and they were like, we're bumping this thing out and they took every tree down through, it's in their right way. I mean, they can't, but right now we have the side of
Reminded by.
what I'm saying, you know what I mean, that they decided to move his right way to the edge of his lawn.
I do.
Well, that's how these issues are connected to me, is the trees are in the same right of way.
Right.
And I'm talking historically about problems that I've been aware of for 20 years of issues in the right of way. Trees are also in the right of way. And it seems just weird that you're overly concerned about maintaining the integrity of the brick. And yet the grates were taken out. And yet you're also saying, well, the state could come in and change it all tomorrow anyway.
They could, but don't you want the brick to be, don't you want the brick and everything to be nice?
I want everything to be nice.
Right.
And I mostly don't want the trees to get cut down. That's what I hear.
There's no, it's gonna be, there's gonna be. I did say something about that where the banner was, wherever the banners are, that if the branches went out and crossed the in front of the banner, it'd be great to trim a branch or so that the banners would show, you know.
So to be clear. The village controls it, village mows it. So if it was an issue, I could bring it up there. Talking about perhaps they know, getting rid of the sidewalk, with $100,000.
I think that's one of many things that keeps our village from looking as tidy as it could.
So,
I think that there's a lot of grass growing up in the curbs and in the sidewalks.
so we addressed that some last year. With the person mowing, where I stress it again.
There's no issue with it, I mean. As far as the projects go, quarter acre, what I have, quarter acre next to that. In the springtime, I pull off the sidewalk stone before the guys get a chance to get to it. I take and I cut the edge of the sidewalk and curves in front of my place of that. No one's gonna stop me from doing that, so if someone feels that the front of their property needs to have a weed pull. For God's sakes, don't wait for this government to do it before you get out, pull it in, weed.
When my shop was on Main Street, I did that, and I often shoveled the whole block up in front of Plum and Main before the guys got there to do it. I shoveled it by hand with a shovel. And my shop was no longer on Main Street. I drive on that street every day though, so I care about how it looks.
Absolutely.
And I think that there's a lack of clarity over who's responsible for doing it. And if the landowner is the one responsible, you just need to make that clear, because people aren't doing their job.
It's not that you're responsible, but if you want it to look better, if somebody hasn't made it there. You know, that's like all the sand that's out on the sidewalks that the guys spend all the time cleaning the lawn with the brushes and brooms and leaf blowers and cleaning off all the sand. That's not. That is sand that's pushed there from the state, and dirt is pushed there from the state. But our guys have to clean it, why? Because we take care of the sidewalks.
Okay, so we're going off too far, right?
Yeah.
We're on the tree, so. The tree board will look at it, come back with another idea, what's the big, do the prevent. Sidewalk problems. Maybe parking areas, maybe, that have the problem with those.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did just hand,
Yeah, Susan got two different ideas for the parking issues. I'll pass it on. One of them's running. Chain down by where the parking, you know.
Yeah.
Confliction is, or the other one's moving the post 10 inches back.
Well, the post is the issue, not the chain.
Right,
well, the post
section
wouldn't
issue.
be there,
Okay, so you know,
just
This
put
is
like a.
moving.
bolt
Get rid of the
or
post,
chain
run
down.
chain down.
Yeah, and Scott, you looked at that, maybe four spots.
That's like we.
That were might presented issues, so that might be fixed, just to get that immediate issue taken care of, and then we get a little bit of time to work on the bricks and the future.
I don't know that we can do anything about the bricks.
Oh, it can be done, it's not cost,
Well, that's the thing.
no doubt,
I mean,
Go back to the select
We're not
board,
construction.
development for another grant.
or.
The village didn't ask the tree board to remove our tree grates, so we don't do that. We
But
did it because we thought it would be an enhancement to the community. It turned out to be less of an enhancement and more of a liability, right, moment to the village.
but I think if you look at that, you will see that the grates were inside the concrete. That is the grate frame that you're looking at there. Those got pulled out, and the frame that holds those posts looks just like that and put in the same place. They never touched the bricks.
But they removed all the dirt that was packed in between that metal frame and the brick. Okay, so the simple fact is that the bricks don't touch everything that they put sand in between. Right. And so the problem is the bricks are moving now, it's gonna cause a problem. So we need to address that down the road. Sooner than later, and I believe that's the opinion of the entire board, Ellis. Okay, Darrel? So I think that's direction we'd really like to see it go. We're not blaming you guys, we're just saying that it wasn't the way it was presented to us. And now it's causing problems to us. Moving forward, I think if you're gonna do any design changes from the design that we approved, you should come back to us and see if we had any history, but according to the scene.
Well, I am sorry that there was miscommunication. That wasn't my impression.
All right, well, we're not saying it, get it on purpose.
Why would I?
It's just simply the way it's happened.
Yeah.
So we just need to resolve this way.
work with you.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then another, one other thing about the trees, you had to replace, so we're gonna be doing some, letting send them up from the sidewalk. They are really low and.
Yeah.
We do that every year,
Yeah.
and we haven't done it this year yet.
Well, I think that's part of that gray area. Are we doing it as a tree board all the time?
We've got that branches on your tree.
Okay.
We don't
That's
want
what
to
we're
do
gonna
that.
get.
Okay, we'll do it.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Shut up. Brian.
yeah.
So,
Well, it's.
You don't think you could pull back the dirt, mulch or whatever back far enough and run some. Some order. Or something just up against the brick, leave it down a little bit, just so they're locked in. I mean, it'll probably take you. Two bags of mortar, first two. You know.
That's something to look at. Personally, I think it's an issue with the root balls.
Bulking up.
No matter what we do, it's, rich roots are gonna push up
Yeah, but how
whatever's
can't they? There's concrete there.
time.
I think we should dig it.
Someone mentioned the pieces that were taken out might be out by the shop. Would it, I mean, if that's the case, if they could find some welder to recreate those,
They're all bent.
they're all bad.
Well, they took a backhoe or something, just ripped them out.
But
They're
yeah,
all
cause they,
not usable.
they're not easy, so there's no repairing or having rebuild.
They say no repair on
We looked at them.
You did look at them, right?
Last
Oh, that's good. I was
So
just
the
trying to,
steel was bad for the.
The frame that you see there, they're all warped and bent.
what could you make it?
Yeah, those are just.
But getting back to that, space there, you said there was dirt holding it in place. So can we just put dirt back in again? That's what was there before?
Metal barrier.
Hmm?
There's no metal barrier that slips the dirt in and hold it against brick. That's the whole issue. That's considered a curb.
Need something structural to be able to. Space between the brick and that, to, you know, because staying is in there, packs and increases solid. That's what that metal frame is. It goes not touching the bricks, maybe if you look above the tape measure there, you can see where their stand is. The bricks are probably what, 3 inches thick, 2 inches thick, so. On the top part of that center of the picture there, you can see the sand or dirt that's in between the brick and the metal, that's not 2 inches deep. That's what comes off the bricks are moving, was that metal frame. So we see some sort of structure in there on the base layer to prevent the bricks from.
I do understand that, but I think we need to dig at our problem yet again, because
What about just cheap hang wire developed into frames like that?
That's what I was,
That's what it was, that's what was there,
Right.
you know, so and I'm sure not every piece of that has been out beyond.
that was my point. And,
Exactly.
Stick it back in.
and you might be able to find somebody who's a welder and maybe donate their time to make you great.
It's great, just the frames.
Yeah, the
The
frame.
frame, hold it in, that's the thing. We're gonna make the post and the chains work. It also needs something with pack of chains, if you want to do that, help anchor the chain for the cross thing.
Yeah.
Put a little eye right in the end and
Yep.
do you still have those?
I think most of them been up, but.
They what?
Take a look too. They were pulled out by a backhoe, so most of them are broke, but there might be something.
But do you still have them? Because last year somebody said they were gonna be
I
recycled.
don't believe they've sent the metal pile out yet, so dig through the metal pile, but but.
Okay,
Yeah, I want to crew tomorrow to take a look at it. Yeah, the banding salvo, most of that project, if there is, take a picture, give it to you, and you can send it. That would be.
Why did the angle still have to get yanked out? All they had to do is remove the grates, the large grates, put grates back.
Is that where you're closer?
because they had cross pieces. That went across.
The
Oh,
angle
yeah.
box.
Actually, we didn't ask them to take those out. We thought we wanted them out, so we took them out. We just wanted the,
The
cables
top,
and
that's what I understood, because they're easily manipulated. The whole thing.
But why do you have to solve the problem now if they're the ones who took the thing out when they weren't supposed to?
well, there's a question, because that seems to be my lot in life.
I'm really confused.
I do too, because the village didn't have this to happen, no, at all.
No, none of us asked for this to happen, but the
Like, I
thing
can
is,
tell you, our crew did what exactly what three, four directions when they went there, they didn't do anything above and beyond in their own opinion, so. They came back to us instantly afterwards and told us that the problem was not being supported and having occurred. That's when, I think Eric first reached out about it. So. The village wants to work with a solution on it,
So do we. But. We'll see what,
You know. The village doesn't wanna put the report to stop until they do both. We wanna work with it, but you gotta understand the project you brought to us is not a project resolving.
What happened to that project?
Wait,
So
so
with the curb and
we're trying to
get
figure out
started
where
the
it
whole
all
process,
from,
right?
we wanted to put curbing around it. But we did not have enough money to do it. Unfortunately, we had somebody who. Jason and Nate and I and Noel, I think, got together and said, and we all worked up this idea. And Jason, the road crew, wanted to do it in their spare time, which would have put $10,000 in their budget. We all thought that was a real win-win. The select board didn't want to do it. By that time, we had the grant, we had the plan, we had somebody lined up to do it, and the select board put the kibosh on it, and then we were really screwed, frankly. So they said, well, go ask the trustees what they want to do. Now, we did talk, you said you wanted curbing, I said we wanted curbing, the trouble was we couldn't get it, but I never understood you to say, we must have curbing. Because we just simply did not have the money for it.
okay, you just said yourself that we said it needed curb. You said it needed curb.
You said you
And
wanted
did come
curbing.
back to us when you decided you didn't have the funds to not do curb.
I know, but you never said, well, if you don't get curbing, you can't do that.
But you also said that it's never gonna look like it does, it was a totally different operation. So we're trying to figure out where the miscommunication went.
No, it's the same thing we had. It was always the posts and chains.
That's nothing like what we approved,
What did you approve?
a three-sided gate system, but that's behind, let's just keep moving forward with it. So you guys tried to come up with a solution, the select board was supposed to discuss this also from our joint meeting. Try to come up with a solution.
Well, the select board didn't want anything to do with it because it's on village property, and I don't know why they even talked about it in the joint meeting, because they told us they weren't gonna even discuss it.
Well,
there was a picture that was presented to us at three sides that had a metal. Solid steel rail, solid steel, on three sides. Angled down towards the street, an angle to the
Right.
street.
He said you gave that to him, Paul.
yeah, it's from the email you sent.
Something was from the original proposal.
I looked into getting those before we ever talked about making them. They use them in New York and Chicago and all over the place. They cost something like $3,000 a piece. We needed 12 of them. We had $14,000, and that did not include trucking them. So they're just, it could not happen.
And the project just went forward, that's all, you know.
But the project
If
had.
you didn't have to spend the money instantly, you could have brought it back and said, we're having a problem, we don't have the money for this. We may have been able to come up with something, the select board may have been able to come up with something.
Well, you know, to be honest, what we could have come up with, when the trees started out growing, what was there? We tried to take some of the rings out of the grates. It took us, what, 4 hours one night to do one? Nate said, and I'm not, Nate is wonderful, we work together well, I'm not trying to get him in trouble. He said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Another year went by that it got worse, the trees had grown over the grates, he said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. They never had time. And we get them because we're overworked too. So had that happened, we wouldn't even have needed any tree guards. Believe me, that project was the project from hell. And I'm not exaggerating on that. I wish I had never even heard of it, but here we
I
are.
heard. So try to come up with a solution, and we'll. Eric will try to brainstorm, reach out for John, they come up with solutions. And we'll move forward with it the best we can. If the village has to take this on, the posts are probably coming out, we can put it back to it, that's. We'll get out there.
Well, you can't put them back the way they were without enlarging it.
I would just look for those frames, if you can find even those frames or somebody, maybe the town guys over there can cut and weld them back for you as part of maybe they'll help you out, I don't know, I don't know if we have the welder, but.
The town select board made it clear that this is a village issue. They were,
Okay.
they were.
The town board got the grant, the town got the grant, the village had nothing to do with it, we approved them being able to, that is it. So the select board can say whatever they want. It was not this board's responsibility, we didn't ask for it.
Again, these are trees that are gracing our village and people say, we're going to Johnson. They don't say village or town. They see these beautiful trees, and I think everyone should try to work together to preserve what we have that's creating a really nice.
And I don't think that it's gonna be that hard to put
So I
those
think,
drains.
I think the only people not saying they wanna work with help out some of that is the town. I think the tree board sitting here before us saying, okay, this is not what we wanted to happen, but this is where we're at. They're gonna search, try to find the metal, and we're all working together, the town is the one that stepped out and said, not our problem. So I think the majority of people here ought to try and work together and find a solution.
Yeah. And I think the tree board has always gotten along well with the village.
Yeah.
That has always been the
Even
case.
if you can't find those, you can fold the material back and just put. Like I said, I think you should do it with 3 bags of mortar, just and keep it down below the height of the brick. And that will lock all those in. It's
Yeah.
it's very cheap. I mean, 3 bags of mortar.
You know what, BJ? It's never easy and it's never cheap.
But I'm just, it's not,
No,
Right.
but I would suggest that you and I get together with Nate and dig up that corner and look at it.
Yeah, brainstorm some options.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that'll work.
yeah,
Sure, we've got other requests. I'll do something like that.
yeah, somebody just.
Well, they need the angle still.
Yeah.
And you can mechanically put it together, it sounds as well. Verbal.
Yeah.
And the town just raised my taxes, so they should have some extra funds to buy some.
Some of that, I'm sure some of that steel is good, it's over there, some of it, at least half of it is good stuff. To use.
Well, I heard a rumor that the village of the studio center was interested in the the plates that made up sat in the grates. There were 4 in each. They're quite spiffy looking. You might see if you could sell them to them. Raise some money.
Oh, very, all.
Well, they probably are, but you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't care about
Put a chain on them, drag them out.
Yeah.
that. You already got it?
Yeah.
Moving on,
Appreciate it.
okay.
Oh, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Next up, we review policy. That's the CTO banking policy. So I brought this up to Eric, because of the North Grand Tire, So we. Yeah, I guess we knew. Could retire. We should have looked into it more and saw what our banking was. We just need to prevent large amounts from spoiling the budget from half.
So we can't find anywhere, any. That's there's a cap on CTO role.
There is a cap.
There is a cap.
One.
One and a half times your annual.
On that one, their payout is 1.5, isn't bank one,
So required.
But this 1 month, if you're allowed to go over fiscal year, which I can at least calendar year, correct, it's 1.5 times.
One
year.
Yeah.
And if you got anything over that, goes into extended sick pay. Until extended sick bank fills up and there's catastrophic sick bank.
So that it never goes away.
But, well, think,
Yeah.
the CTO. Is paid on, even. A half of extended sick bank is, but none of catastrophic.
So what is okay, so it's 1.5. Annual. Carryover. And then that's just your straight CTO. The next bank is extended. What's the limit on that?
438 hours,
Sorry, what?
438 hours.
That's for somebody over 5. You mean for Rosemary?
Or
That's what it says in the personnel policy for your credits and things,
So,
for the personal.
I mean,
Yes, right.
I'm putting out some policies today. I would suggest that the easiest way to do this. You know, without. Well, without getting sued. Well,
Anything will be grandfathered.
okay, yeah, would be to basically to say that sick bank, even the extended sick bank, isn't paying the. You know,
So,
That's all we can do for that. And
well, I was just looking at it, sending the time limit. Because we did it with the crew during the flood. They carried over so much CTO that they weren't supposed to, we extended them for 3 months to use that CTO.
those CTO call.
I thought it was CTO. Because they couldn't take their vacation.
Right, and that's
So that's.
so it continues to be a bit of a problem.
Correct, so we need to set it. A system where that you can't carry it over beyond February, the end of February. So you have 2 months into the new fiscal year to burn up your vacation pay.
So, I mean,
So you,
at
it's
the
a vacation.
beginning, at the end of the fiscal year. If you are, most places that are dealt with, if you are over your. In this case, 1.5 on your annual, you know, they don't have the catastrophic and stuff like that, they just go annual, maybe if you're over that, because it was.
Correct.
That's all we're,
The next,
yeah,
Some of those powers are, they like to say times, but some says 2 times annual. There.
I don't care what I'm.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't understand why we don't, just using where we are ATO, accrued time off, and that covers. Vacation and sick is accrued in that, and we make. 3, 1, whatever, anyways, it doesn't matter. The most you can carry over every year, no matter what, is 300 hours. That's what we can carry over. Now, there is no, you get this much sick, you get this much.
You don't have.
well, that's what.
But I did, and you can't keep just. Can't keep pushing it, I mean, you take it from vacation pay and say, well, I didn't use it, we'll call it sick pay. And then we'll carry that, and then the next one. Next one doesn't even have a limit, and we can carry that. I think there should be.
Combined,
It's same thing.
it's combined, but once your combined time goes over a certain amount, it rolls into your sin.
That's where it should stop.
correct, so
Yeah.
we can change our policy if we keep it.
Right,
If we decide that we do not want to have an astronomical amount of either one. Then we need to at least stop the CTO and make them use it by a certain period of time. So that somebody isn't just finishing the last month of their time and taking off the entire time.
Or they lose it.
I,
Hang on, I'll get you guys the second
Okay.
forward.
Yep, sorry.
So that's where I'm at, I'm not taking away anybody's. What they've earned, I'm not trying to do any of that, I'm just trying to control the amount that kills our budget when we aren't expecting it.
I think with these banks are a good thing, there's twofold to me. These banks give our employees short-term and long-term disability bank 2 or 3. I think where we can save is the limit on the payout end of it, saying, hey, if you're done, we pay out bank 1, none of bank 2, it's only. Or half of bank 1 or 3/4 of bank 1, but we keep those other banks and we keep pushing CTO in case they have short-term disability issues they want to get on, because. Our union, we do a wage consolation, I can't remember, continuation. For their long-term disability, where if they get hurt, they use all their CTO and then we supply 26 weeks. So.
It related tends to keep above our call story on this subject. Was. Saw it, much and said that the union will absolutely go for that, and I said that.
We ain't talking about CBAs, I had nothing to do with Tim, just let them stay with me.
Okay. Just wanna let you-
I understand that, we're not talking about.
Because the CBA is off us, well, at least I know the electric, I don't know about the guys on the electric goes to our manual, but. they do have that wage continuation to help with their if they're long-term or short-term disability, where our employees don't. So I would like to keep those for staff back, but the payout, and I think it's a good idea, like, if you get done, you do 75% of your bank one or something, I think that's where we save, and we still have that safety net for our employees.
I mean, you also had another idea is that you don't get paid out in one check, you get 40 hours a week, you'll spread that.
Yes, most we pay out
When you're
40 hours
retired,
until you're done.
Go to a new job, cause it's, like I said. No way I'm not bashing, but everybody earns what they earn, I'm just saying that this is a budget. Yep. And well, we might have been able to catch this thinking a lot further down the road, okay, but. And yes, there's only a few employees that have stacked amounts, you know, so we just need to make sure that. We're being proactive instead of reactive on this matter.
Well, you gotta, yeah, I mean, it's. You gotta be careful how much carry over all that, because if you're paying, if somebody has. Just throw a number, if somebody makes $35 an hour. And they bank a whole year's worth of time, and then the next year starts, you get a 3% raise, now that rate, that ATO, CTO is now at the higher rate.
That's right.
And so,
And then what I'm suggesting to you is that, can we create an account for when the employee earns CPO, it's that money's put into that account. Then it's not a budget yet, but then we're gonna have an account for every employee. Are you going to do it in one?
So the only suggestion I really have with this is instead of doing the cutoff time for whatever the carryover needs to be used at the end of the fiscal year or at the end of the calendar year. Put the cutoff time on the anniversary of the hire date for the employee, because then it kind of staggers when people have to use their time throughout the year, so, you know, the crew all like. Realizes they're gonna use a bunch of time and they all take off at the same time, we're not gonna be able to get anything that, so.
Part of this part is like that's the month.
People have vacation time, wanna use it, and it makes everybody short staffed, so everybody's gotta pick up the pace, and, you know.
They only revoke all their vacation time every day.
No, with
Anyway, trying to.
the way actually, so what we have last month is in October. Everybody's trying to use it by that date,
Yeah,
where we're actually saying. One could be in October, one could be in January, like, to me, that helps as in the staffing issue that we're gonna run in. There'll be a little more work on her end, being she didn't have to keep track of that, but when you same man with Kenny. If we put all that money into a bank for him, so we know we have it, we can also put that into account where we're getting interest off it too. So we're killing two birds with one stone also with that.
Great account with that, you have to have. Approval, yeah. So, this, everybody's here is clear that 1.5 times annual is not 1.5 times, not 1.5 years. That's 1.5. I'm sure, one person can be at, whatever, 20 hours, you get 60 hours, 100 hours, whatever it is. It's not 1.5 years, 1.5 times their deal, but that extended, that is a year. 480 hours, that's a whole year.
I don't, that's a big like, I don't know when they, I don't know how much pushback you get on making extended sick pay, you know, not paying. It's still there to use. I think that's the one that, you know, Rosemary probably really hurt us on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't see why we wouldn't be able, why we wouldn't be able to, we're just.
Right, I'm just saying that if you get in a whole can of worms, you, especially the way policy has been written, you read. But the AI said, you know, going.
Yeah, it's not always about.
It's not, but it's a good free, you know,
Yeah.
thing to start with,
And the other thing,
and it's,
I mean, basically like a house.
so you just see where it go.
You bet
Well,
you can compare, I mean,
Because
Well, they're,
you leave the CTO alone and just grab the sick pay, you know.
I think so.
Actually, stop first, so. I tell them that second.
Yeah, so. Old village trustee, we talked about this because we had some people leave and it crushed our budget. And it took a while for everybody to get clarity on the CTO, sick time, vacation time, and everything that Johnson does. Also retired as a state worker and ran a small program and had people leave that had a huge amount of vacation time saved up and comp time. And those are payable items, I think, by law. You can't just say, you're right, you can cap it. But we didn't have CTO, we had sick time. And when I retired from the state government, I had over a year of sick time. That was my sick time, it was my catastrophic, if I really screwed up, I had some back. When I retired, the only thing that they gave me was hours of sick time, was a benefit. It's part of your employment, it's not like, oh, you owe me cash. You know, when you're a public servant, you're a public servant. You bend things because that's what you jump yourself into. If you want to make a boatload of money, go to private industry. You know, I'm a firm believer in that. But all state workers in the state of Vermont, at least when I retired, sick time, it's gone. And if you want to save it, we had a sick bank. So we knew somebody in our program and may have some health issues. I'm not going to use this much. I can write off 60, 100, 200 hours of sick time and put it in the sick bank. So if somebody really needs it because of a, you know, a bad illness or injury, they can go in and get it. You're taken care of. So this catastrophic sick time versus sick time versus all the other buckets that the municipality has, it seems confusing. And I'm not saying this.
I mean, a whole lot more simple in the state, so like my girlfriend works in the state.
Yeah.
Ours is simple, I mean, there's one thing they earn, that's combined, that's sick, vacation, personal, all, everything.
But then that
And then when you
overflows.
get beyond, if you can get beyond your carryover amount, then it goes to the sick. The extra goes to the
See, I
sick.
don't know why we're doing that. I don't understand why anybody do, I understand why. We get, I get 5 weeks a year, you call it whatever you want. And I had, in order to get that, I get at 3.89 hours of every 48 hours worked, or whatever it is. And I don't understand how it couldn't be just that easy. If you work 40 hours. This is what you get, and if you work those hours, this is what you end up with at the end of the year.
So if I can just finish my little thing there. I had 2 employees leave and I wasn't keeping track of how much time they had at books, and it damn near cost me my grant. That's my fault as the manager, right? So as managers and trustees, I think it would be really crucial for you guys to know what your staff has on the books.
You know,
Were you
had,
aware of what Rosemary had on books when you were trustee?
Not her, because I thought she would be.
Like that. I understand exactly what you're
Right.
saying, I'm just saying this was a rare.
But we
situation.
did have people clock out on us.
Yeah.
That left us.
Steve got that.
So we started watching a little bit more closely on who had what, but the way the personnel rules were managed, we would have to undo all that. And pull things apart and make it a little bit more simple. But you know, for me, for an employee to get cash for their sick time, which is, in my eyes, is a huge benefit.
It is.
Seems wrong.
But we gotta have a. I don't know, if we end up with, you know, Marla stays for 30 years, Derek stays for another 20 years. We're ending up in a situation where we're gonna bust the village, paying out these. So we have the right and ability to regulate it. I understand that you're saying it's a big benefit, which only 3% of people in Vermont have.
Right, exactly.
So we have a pretty good, and that 3% is in the great good, my opinion. And it's not that anywhere, every employee deserves what they've gotten working for the village. I'm just looking at it, being proactive about stopping the situation that each island. So,
My understanding was that the sick bank was created when you had some employees within the office who had a very bad illness, and they didn't have short-term disability and they exhausted all their time, and it was a way for, like you said, the catastrophic was a way for that way where that employee could use time out of that was like a shared, so they wouldn't have to go without and go into a hardship. That was my understanding of why that came about. My second thing is that, I try really hard to stay down on my time. And that's, I don't see it as something I wanna bank. I really like to take my time off.
As you should.
And I've already canceled one vacation this, because we don't have the coverage. And it's only gonna get worse. So, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I didn't wanna cancel that week's vacation. I still want to get vacation. Now we got some other problem coming up and I can't dump all that on Ashley, so. I also try to schedule a lot of my appointments outside. Thankfully, I don't have any real bad illness and I don't use a lot of my sick time, thankfully, but it's nice to know that it's there. In case I did get a very bad illness, because I don't have short-term disability. I'm probably right now the only person in the village who is not in the union or has a contract separate than that they have certain things that are guaranteed. So I am the only one that falls under, and well, yeah, she has a contract too, though.
No.
Oh, you don't have a contract. Okay, so the two of us are the only two that this is really affecting, because the linesmen are all under a union contract and they can negotiate for what they want. That kind of leaves Ashley and I vulnerable to losing a lot of benefits. That is one of the reasons why I came to this and took a cut in pay to come here, because the benefits were better. And, you want to consider those things that, it's not like we're paying what's the market rates are paying here. Cutting the benefits would cut into the pay. It would take away from what we make.
I got the question, what are we assuming? I need to write any personal policy anyway, because right now it's a joint policy. So. New policy between now and the end of the year. Part of that, basically consists of running the same way, but with two key changes. None of the sick banks pay out when you leave. And they clear that sick bank, you can donate sick bank to someone who needs it. We don't necessarily have that in there. That's definitely not there. So,
My plan was not to have any decisions made, but it was to bring up this discussion, like, have Eric research it and check with legal before we come up with any public statements on this. I'm just simply saying that we have to be careful. Because continuous surprises to the budgets, and every department become a problem, and we need to stop it.
And one thing I wanted to share, when I saw the AI thing where it was saying that you can't go back on your bank one, we can. I mean, Smug just did it with your wife and me. We used to be able to get, well, myself, I had 380 hours a year. And then they said, okay, starting next year, that dropped back to 228, so you have to use that, your extra, because after that, you're at a max of 228 a year, you don't get it, but when I get done, you get paid out that amount weekly, 40 hours a week.
I just came to clarify, the question, because what I read, it made it unclear. There's CTO, right? And then what's after that? Are there two more buckets or one more bucket?
What happens after that only happens when you go over.
I understand that.
Times. First bucket is the stated sick bank. Sick bank, when we currently, it's paid at 50%.
When you are done with your job? Yes, you leave.
And then there's a further sick bank, catastrophic sick bank that does not get paid.
Okay.
So.
There are public, just so you know.
I propose changes would just be extended sick bank, and you could pool it to. give it
I heard that, I
someone
think
else.
that's a great idea.
But there's just that one step and it doesn't pay.
The comment that I would make then is that from what I'm hearing from everyone that I've talked to today, it sounds like to pay the CTO is a reasonable and just thing. And then things, if you leave, that the rest of that should be considered, and I feel like I would like to put forward that I feel like that's a good idea for the taxpayers as far as sick time, that it is a benefit and it's a wonderful thing to be able to give to your employees, but that payment for that and that it hasn't been paid to some people in the past. So if you're paying sick time to someone who's leaving their job now, that might drain some more cash out of your budget for somebody who's just heard that might be happening.
My question is if you're taking CTO and you're pushing it over to sick pay. Well, CTO was originally earned. Right. And you pushed it over into sick pay, well. That's why I don't think you should be able to push it, because if you push that over, you're actually just pushing over money that they earn. That you were, well, you are, it's
money that's typically what you.
that's why I understand why we just don't have a cap, it's 5 weeks a year. 40 hours of sick time, I don't understand why.
We don't have, because not everyone has sick time. You only have the sick time if you have a lot of CTO.
Well, you don't have to leave it in your CTO.
There's I've already put a cap on it, and most of them, if you go over that at the end of the calendar year, start of the year, or like that, it just disappears. If your cap's 100 hours. Right. And you don't use that for a year. And then the next year you don't use that, you got 200 hours now, that's every year you lose 100 hours.
Well, that's why I don't, I don't know the numbers, if you had if you had 4 weeks vacation and made another 3 weeks of sick time, or if we just call it all 7 weeks.
CTO.
CTO and not call it anything about sick time. And you just capped it and said you can only carry over, every year you can only carry over so many hours.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So then there should never be a,
So there's two.
I mean, I think it's wait.
So as it stands now, are you paying people as they leave this job
Yes,
for more than the CTO?
bank one and part of bank two,
Yeah,
there's 3 banks. Whole bank one, Aqua bank two, we're paying them out.
CTO's paid.
Everything in bank three. And there's some people who have left their job here that haven't got paid half of their second bucket.
If they've had it in there, they've all been paying it.
If they got, well, like for instance, some of us don't have these benefits.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't have second bucket.
Right.
I try not. I feel like the second bucket, as you're thinking about it now, is going to be a shared bucket. Is that correct? You have a max, and then it goes into a shared bank,
But not paid out.
but not paid out.
Yeah.
Just CTO, just in case somebody.
Max, this also bank one and 8 hours.
Already have.
Oh, if you keep this, but that one makes it one out, we got, so that's.
Okay, just Scott, do you understand why I thought this and brought it up? Cause you sat here at the square meeting, and told me, we don't have much more money to continue with the breaks. So I'm trying to come up with an idea to slow down the gradual increase, because that would happen to that. And my main concern was, and like I said, we all have Rosemary, it has nothing to do really with Rosemary, it has to do with the number that's behind Rosemary retirement.
But for what I remember, and this is as a state worker trying to figure out my own budget around this. Is that we got personal days, which was a perk. So if we didn't use those personal days within the year, we lost them.
Yep.
But if I worked overtime, that was mine. Those are earnings that I earned. And they had to be compensated some form.
But you're always trying to consider
It depended on your pay grade and where you were.
but it's overtime to go to your CTO.
There was no CTO.
You were so it was comp stuff.
It was comp.
Right, so comp time gets paid out because you earned
Because
that.
you earned it.
Right.
Personal days, it was a perk.
Correct.
Sick days, perk, nope. Neither one of those got paid.
And that's what I'm just trying to get everybody on the same page to understand that this is ahead. Whether we pay attention to it and wait for somebody to retire to realize it's ahead each time, where we can do a couple of different things, we can either regulate it, slow it down, or just make it so that, like BJ said, you're only gonna get so much of it, and that's it, you don't use it.
Yeah. It's that dance with, you know, Vermont labor laws and federal labor laws, that if you clocked in, you get your cash.
Yes.
No, can't change that.
Yeah,
Right.
Just so you know, Marla, it's not my intent to take away any benefit that you have been promised.
correct. It's
Okay,
not-
that's- Nobody's intention to, I just think what we brought up the board is that we need a policy change for, sure, right, so. I just wanna send you home knowing that we're not gonna try to take anything away from what you got, what you've been expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have anything in 2 or 3. I try to keep it under, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah.
You know,
Right, exactly.
I can't go on vacation right now, so I have no one trying to keep my place,
But it's a place where it goes, so.
right?
And one thing with a bank too, I think the misconception really is calling it sick bank. I look at it as short-term disability, right? I'm not a
Yes.
sick bank. Because sick bank, I'm like, they know why you need a CTO. Short-term disability bank. Somebody that possibly needs that.
Yeah, so Eric's gonna look into that a little bit. That up some of the stuff, do not talk about it. Yeah, then, but he's gonna, I want to be expressive. And like that. Let's just start looking at this, okay? No, said it's gonna happen next month, none said it hasn't happened before. How's that? We need to start looking at this kind of stuff because these are budget killers. We need to keep them. And again, like I said, this nothing was,
No, I understand, I know what you're doing on payout right now, I just. You know,
I got one of the checkbooks from the people that said I have this much money and I don't get a penny more when we're running out.
I would just like to be able to take my vacation, so I'm not making it. No, but when I come back, I'm not having to work, right, I don't wanna have to work the same amount of hours I took off because my work's sitting on my desk. It's hard to take a vacation when you don't have, you still have the same amount of work that product want to do, you get that.
No work, you know, we appreciate you not bailing on it like that, not throwing it all on that, so not throwing it all on there. We understand that. That's why we're looking at several different options. This was just a conversation.
Yes.
Nothing's happening right now. But it's something that we're experiencing. Okay. Was that good, Mary? Yeah, you know. Feel free.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not.
I'm good.
Eric, you back and put on off vision needs.
Yeah, okay, what you guys looking for is, all right, here's the back of the packet. Second to last page of the packet. So, where's the law? Where's the law?
So we asked Eric, Ashley and Marley to come up with a list of things that. From the correct times that we could be doing. Care for the shortfall. Like to go hands on. And then to free up staff doing use their CPR. Eric, you want to say anything?
Well, listen, look at the list, we could easily, you know, keep a person busy full time. Easily, but we try to save money. I would, you know. I would suggest we hire a 4-day person. You know. You know.
I would say we definitely need the help, because as it stands right now, if Marla wants to take a vacation, or if I want to take a vacation, there's no way that either one of us could keep up with the tasks that the other one has. There's no breathing room with just the two of us in the office right now, and need that buffer area. do also have a list of full, it's not full, it's very quick list, but of everything that Marlowe covers outside of what this list is. And you can see, it's pretty extensive already as it is. And Marla and I have chatted about creating a plan to train each other for backup, but still at the end of the day, we do need another person in the office.
So we're gonna include that in the 32 hours.
That'll be my suggestion, and you two are tracking Mondays and Fridays, which one was it, has come out as slower of the two?
Fridays is usually typically slower, but it's not the same every week.
I'll say the week, but usually Fridays is slower.
Usually Fridays are quieter.
Yeah.
I don't know why, maybe because of the weekends, and Monday, but I mean. Today was unusually a little bit quiet,
It was
It
pretty
was
quiet,
but that's unusual. But that's that's unusual that Mondays are quieter, but it was good because I had a lot of payments.
Further suggestion would be, that person would be the counter telephone primary person. Route things to whoever needs it. To help, but then if that person can't cover, it, they can't answer the question. And we do customer service window on those days, they motivated. And that gives the rest of the staff more, more time, more focused on it without interruptions to do things and are very difficult to do with interruption after interruption after interruption.
Correct, but if somebody comes to the window on Friday.
All right, we post them.
Somebody still needs to go out and deal with it.
We post the hours and you hope they understand.
I think you find this board extremely displeased if you guys turn more people, right?
No.
Why would we turn people
I
away?
don't really deal with them, but we hope.
That's what you guys said.
Yeah,
So the initial focus would be to allow you guys to have time to get shit done and get done. But they also need to be trained and stuff, so that
Absolutely.
you guys take us off. So. I mean, it's no brainer, we gotta do it, so.
The last 2 hours don't push to the full time. What's the hour about, working for this?
It'll put you at full time for better things, but it doesn't get, still have 8 hours less than money coming in.
Yeah, I'm just talking about that.
They'll be 40 plus, okay.
So,
I actually am here.
let's hear it.
Actually, we got that. I was on the board before, and I don't know if Will remembers or not. I think we had an intern come in from college or.
Those are more work than they are help.
Yeah.
Well,
Back back, definitely, see where that.
yeah.
In this day and age, they're all.
Time is certain job that's relevant, but in this situation, the task is so specific and so varied. That it takes much more time to train on, but they go.
So
Yeah.
I agree, on that, we do have
There is
some
some,
interns coming in and doing some work for
but
us.
that's stuff that they can do, but they can't rush people's personal information,
Right.
and address and stuff like that. Because they're not those employees.
Well, that was.
Right, it does now, simple stuff that we can send on their way.
Yeah.
So,
Man,
Are you
we
for it?
gotta do something, I mean, I feel bad, for both of these, like, we just. I hope, pray, nothing happens to either one, but we.
yeah.
They're in this closing job, fortunately.
So, yeah. Hold. Mostly,
Good?
I say run it by the chair, vice chair, or something up, you guys agree?
I like to hit 5 bullet points before that, because I'm the only one.
I was going to, I knew that.
You're right, but
You're
you're
right.
right.
So you guys can add to it over there, or?
No, I think it's, I mean, we just had a discussion about the banking of hours. People can't take time off, these ladies they need to have a life outside of work. So with all the work that's gotta be done, give them a life and everything else, I just don't see where we have to give it a best shot of. help.
Well. Anything else to add? Read that.
Private old ones, I don't know, I don't agree. I am a follower of that beer, but I at least went on there.
Well, don't fall on that here. I do not believe.
We should hire another employee after asking the public to support a bond, even if it was electric, and electric is only 25% of this position. That cost adds up over years. Point number two, last year I asked if we should be getting Marla additional help, because I felt that she was overworked. And I was told that no, she was fine with what she had. The total workload percent does not change whether it is divided between 3 employees or 2 employees, the percent is the same percent. I believe we should wait until there's an actual staffing problem before spending money to solve a problem that does not exist at this moment. And many of the duties listed on this task list are occasional duties, not daily responsibilities, so we would be paying somebody for the position every week for things that are only done once in a while.
So when you asked us before, we also weren't separated with town on staff, so we had that three. Right, so that was the reason, with extra and people had knowledge and understanding of Marla's duties.
Even if it was always 20% back then, and she was gone, you still only had 3 people there.
We still have really not people there.
You had 2.
Yeah, too.
So one go, she go.
But the week she's gone, I'm looking at it, it's a week or 2 that she may be gone throughout the course of the year. We're hired to be 40K a year to cover those 2 weeks. We can live through on those 2 weeks worth or 1 week worth, whatever the case may be. I just said, this is my, I didn't do it, I really, you guys got told myself this week, I'm not doing the same as last time, and I'm gonna like. Just get my word out, get it, what I said, and then we do the vote.
If you do it percentage, just remember so that I guarantee you that if you're gone for 2 weeks, the work that you don't do because you're gone.
I still
It's
have
still
to do
there
it.
when you come back.
Absolutely.
On top of what you're already doing, so therefore.
Every time I take a vacation, I cannot get my work done in 40 hours the following week. It's there.
Yeah.
No one else is gonna do it for me, and you can't always. Here, I'm only limited to like maybe a week, a month that I can go. That doesn't interfere with things that have to be done, like building cycles.
So
I'm
that's-
mandated to have those out at a certain time.
Well, one of the reasons I wanna get you somebody prior, now shut down, so I knew like when you went away, even though we had Lydia and them guys there. They didn't do your work for you.
No, it's still hard.
They took your calls, and pretty much that's it, when you came
Yeah.
back, you still had that workload,
Yep.
which I look at it in my head, but it wasn't a big deal then. It's
Oh, it-
still the exact same.
It was.
No, I'm not talking about you, I'm
It wasn't advertised in advance, we should, so he's.
It's still the same, that workload was still there, the same exact situation where I was told back then, she had it, you know, and all that stuff. The only difference is that we don't have William and guys things in the phone while she's gone, but we do have Eric and we do have Ashley being able to do that in those situations, not like it's 1,000 calls a day. We did the numbers on that and it ended up being, I think it was like 12 in a day, but now we're even splitting it with the town, because we're not even dealing with the town calls anymore.
Right,
But
the town separated with us because we were actually utilizing their employees more than they were.
no,
That's why the town separated. Okay, so that's, I'm just saying, so we were utilizing a lot more of that labor than we were actually paying for, like, with the end result.
I think it was posted in, but on our back, our employees was not utilizing their only cheaper, if you remember, like.
Correct, we were utilizing most of it, then
The situation is what we got right now, is we don't have enough hours to cover what we need to cover.
And I'll be honest, with you, last year, ever since, I still am backlogged in work.
Right.
I am backlogged, yeah, I handle it, cause I haven't possibly walked out the door yet. But I'm telling you,
Every day.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I am getting closer every day and I won't stay.
So.
I
this is my thing,
guarantee you, I will not stay.
If she did walk out the door right now, because she's had it and had enough. Who's gonna do her work? Who's gonna do her job?
Who's gonna show?
Somebody will figure it out.
Well, we're
You
gonna
guys do your job, or you guys somebody there, that's in.
It's-
If you let that, go do your job.
Anybody can throw a hot, anybody can do hot mix, anybody can.
There's people that are trained concerned, like Ashley came in, doing Rosemary's job. Hey,
Right.
we're not sure that she's doing Rosemary's job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, I know, and like I said, I don't wanna argue with it, but I mean, I want the ladies to be able to take time, I want them, if they have sick, I don't want them to have to come in if they're sick. You know, I want them to not have to be stressed in there because they're overworked and they feel like we don't appreciate them. If, I just think that we can find it somewhere to support.
20 hours, 25, 30, 35 hours.
It would be nice because of the amount of reporting that we're required to do, and you've seen the list of all my state reporting that I do, I said I'm an unpaid state employee. That's what I am, because there's so much reporting now that needs to be done, that is impossible to do when you're answering the phone constantly. And jumping up to the window. And then you have to get into this really detailed report. I'm saying Monday through Thursday would be good.
Okay,
So if we could get somebody that wants to do the position and only want to work 3 days a week, you think we could survive with that?
Possibly. You know, I
It
don't.
would be up from where we are now.
I could honestly tell you until we did it, but I don't know.
Well,
We
so
do
my
what you gotta
suggestion
do.
is that, you know, we look into it, a lot of people that's gonna look at a 35-hour week job, gonna be looking at it right now. They might not wanna work 40 hours a week, they might not wanna work 35 or 34 hours. So they could easily come back and say, I'd actually do this for 26, 28 hours, you know what I mean? So it could change to that. After 6 months, we could maybe on the hiring process, tell them that after 6 months, we'll reevaluate it, if we need to take 8 hours away. That's,
It's easier to add. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, what if we did, okay, so if you said 3 days,
I'm really leaning to 4, honestly,
right,
yeah,
so.
I'd like to finally get unmarried. And be doing the type of job that I wanna do, where I look forward to being able to help. Like I said, with improving processes and rates.
Put that out at 35 hours.
So,
32, so, yeah.
so I'd like a motion, so that we're looking legit on this, I'd like a motion to see that Eric can produce a.
I think Mark here produces a job listing to assist Marla Ashley in the office. I wants to be listed in the proximity of 32 hours a week, and upon approval of the chair, vice chair, it gets posted.
Is that you willing to?
No, that's the middle order.
Approve it?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we have to second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Well, did you? Aye. You did?
Nah.
Okay, this involves money down the road for the property and blow it out. Tell us how you vote. Tell us how you vote. Yeah. Jared and I, BJ?
Nah.
Will? Yeah. Darrel?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, get that, get out of this. Eric, 9 days community now. And yep. Trying to make this last one easy, okay? Okay. We going into executive session with Greg Brennan?
If you want to do
We're
something.
gonna touch other business or?
I give you
Before we leave. Actually, can I hold it off, second, I didn't forget, other business. Yeah,
Okay. 2, possibly 3 months ago. We talked about getting a hour sheet from Nate or of the equipment. And the hours of maintenance on it so that we could have it running total every month. So that when it comes to buying a piece of equipment, we look at how much we're utilizing it.
Yep.
We haven't, I haven't got that, haven't seen it in any of the reports.
Check with Nate on this.
I think a good starting point would be tomorrow morning. And then next month we'll have the full month of data, and then going forward, like we were supposed to, I think. We can keep track of it.
Thinking about it, tell me that it's.
It's for a monthly report, all we need is hours used, and. If they. Whatever they did for maintenance on, 'em, so we can have a,
Are we including the manager's share?
I think everything that we worked on, no, I think everything that the village has control as far as equipment. Is a good point, and if we don't use something for 2 months, we'll be able to say we didn't. Then we can look back and when it comes to replace it, we'd be like. Well, in a year, we haven't put 10 hours on the thing.
Yeah, so miles or hours, you want the equipment.
What hours?
Miles for you, miles for the trucks.
Yep.
Yeah. Hours for the equipment.
Hours for the
It's here, tractor.
Yeah.
You do all that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's, honestly, I spaced it, so.
No, I
All that is, I usually remind Eric of stupid things like that, and he gets mad at me.
well, I don't think it's stupid, no, but I think if it is.
I think that big one's stupid.
I'll do that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good call, we did I did totally
Drop ball, fix it.
And yeah, I would be.
Yep. We did not do any fair market pricing on.
Yeah, okay.
On this stuff, that was Eric and John were supposed to eventually sit down.
Yeah, first thing I found out is that as far as the garages are concerned. They're all on the 180 acres. Oh. So, the old mill, old garage is on the 180,
Right.
on the 180 piece.
Yep.
So it's fired from smokehouse.
Yep.
And the cold storage is not, cold storage is on the ball.
Correct.
So to do. You know, to value those buildings, we have to sell a lot of buildings.
That means we're drawing owners of the ball field and we never know it.
It's,
But yeah, so. That. You guys down have passed out John, because we left both boards left up to you to come up with a couple of proposals.
Yeah, we're talking about the deed or the MOU as a separation instead of the whatever.
So as far as the MOU, yeah, an MOU won't work, but a lease will. So people lease properties all the time to build multi-million-dollar factories on top of that. And they only own the building, not paying their anything. Well, that's probably the easiest, cheapest way for us all to go instead of spending hundreds of $1,000s in subdivision Act 250 and brownfield study. All it's to the rental, so.
so basically it would be like. We lease their half for 100 years for $1, and they lease our half for 100 years for
I
$1.
don't know if lease is the technical term we'd be looking for, I'm just saying that that's how a lot of that stuff happens, it's that, they'll lease the property. For 30 years and build a multi-million-dollar factory on.
Well, more 30, but yeah.
Right, I'm just saying, I don't think it's a lease is what it's.
Most people say they do it for 5 years, it won't be their fucking problem when it's done.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that can be done to get rid of that land to get.
Yes,
back
we have
to
to
that.
legally subdivide it, you just, everybody
The
says.
cheap way though, I mean,
There's no cheap way to
there's no
subdivide
cheap way, so we're stuck with.
Because start with brownfield,
Right,
that's the first red flag.
yeah,
Then there's gonna be the arguments on the subdivision.
right,
Then there's gonna be who gets the better property.
Well, unless they like, they wanted us to buy that and they
I
want
understand,
to.
you know, I mean, like I said, we know what the village paid for it.
Right.
Well, I heard some board members, say money's on an issue,
Yes, that's.
so they ought to just buy us out.
So that's just, like I said, no, that was all on them too.
Yeah.
They're supposed to come up with a couple ideas.
And the last thing is, what is the CDA and when do I get with, Darrel to where we can start this, because I do wanna dive into a little.
I would say you with Darrel, can tag team up anytime you start talking about it, or getting your plan. And then you can reach out to Jeff. He's the.
They're gonna be,
We need to start it sooner than later.
they're getting fairly close to being ready to start.
Okay, well, we need to start it sooner than later, to carry on with the other plans.
DJ takes time.
I wanna know that inside of them first.
We're ready to go to CPA.
I I'm ready to go now.
But yeah, so. Darrell, you agree that you'd work on that one? When I
yes,
talked about it?
there's no certain dates of the.
Yep, that's why you touch base, you guys can figure it out, and then I would suggest you two meet up somewhere and have a beer and talk about it for 2 minutes, figure out your game plan. BJ comes up with some good game plan. Well, I just sit back and talk for a minute.
Darrel, do you have a copy of CBA? Yeah, I'll send you one.
So, the guys are tough, it's a good negotiation. Thank you. I'm gonna give one long run to this one, yes, to me. Good, so you reach out to him?
Yes.
No. He's gonna figure out where that's gonna go. All right, did you have anything you wanted to present before the executive session? Just that.
So very quickly, our new truck has been built. And the factory inspection is next week. At that point, once it's accepted or any little last minute changes, that will travel to the Sourcey shop in St. Albans. They will do their outfitting and upfitting, and then we are looking at potentially delivery somewhere around 1st of September. So the task at hand tonight is for us to recommend to you what engine to shed, because we have a new truck coming in. There's some strategy around that and some financial considerations. So we're prepared to make a recommendation. But I think an executive session might be good because it will talk about sale of used apparatus and
I agree.
that format.
You did?
I'm going to find premature general public knowledge regarding fire truck purchase and sales. They will place the village at substantial disadvantage. The board of trustees risk disclosing what our minimum acceptable offer is. I move that we enter into executive session.
But first, if the board has to approve.
Yeah, who does, sorry.
Do we have a second? Discussion? All in favor?
I
Okay.
I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the fire truck purchase and sales details under the provision of Title 1, Section 313A1. Sorry.
Any discussion? We will be bringing in our treasurer and manager into this conversation. Don, RJ Craig also, but listen, chief. Donna, if there's anything comes to that, or Eric can get to you on it. Executive session, 7:28.